Well, what a bummer tonight was, guys. Season's at an end in a minute and 57 seconds. Not what anybody was really expecting tonight in the slightest, but it happened. The Lions season comes to a close. Your guys are watching Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say. Don't know if I can really get it all out. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try tonight. You know, they're not dead yet, but there's a minute 49 and counting. But yeah, we'll be talking more about how the game went, my thoughts for what's next. But once again, you guys are watching Gritsville USA right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be back in a bit.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
All right, guys, welcome back to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. This game is still going on. I guess by definition, it's not over. But I guess we'll be going through it till the clock hits 000 together. The Lions just got inside the 20-yard line. With 40 seconds left, I assume they're going to spike it right here, which they are. 39 seconds left. Once again, watching Gritsville USA right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I probably already said that. Obviously, a lot's going on in the mind right now. Just kind of waiting for this to wrap up here. But hey, you know, we're here. We're still watching this live, but make sure to follow us on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Facebook, not TikTok anymore, at least until Monday, maybe. YouTube at IE Sports Radio. Find us on iesportsradio.com. That's where you find my show, a bunch of other great shows as well in the program. We have our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it. And then, of course, even though tonight went miserably, you can give me a follow at Gritsville_IESR on X or Twitter. Once again, whatever you call it. Right now, before I get into anything, because, I've seen crazier things happen in life, well, I'm just going to live react to these last 30 seconds. It's 3rd and 10. And nope, that is game over. Jared Goff just threw a pick. All right, so that's definitely the end of the game, and the Detroit Lions season comes to a utterly disastrous end against the Commanders tonight. That last pick was just symbolized this whole game for the most part. You could easily tell that Washington showed up, Detroit didn't, and I don't want to take that away from Washington at all. It was more than just them showing up. They are a fucking good team. Doesn't matter that they're the number 6 seed. They went up against the number 1 seed and, wiped them out. Like that doesn't matter. They proved that they belong. Jaden Daniels is, man, this is so sobering to watch. But Jaden Daniels is the absolute truth. And to be honest, I tweeted this out a few minutes ago. I truly do hope that Washington goes on and finds a way to take all of it. They're a hell of a fun team to watch. And they deserved this. They came in. Everybody knew that nobody was really giving them a chance. The thing across all media this week is they're playing with house money. Not supposed to be here. They have nothing to lose. And well, yeah, that's true. I mean, they came into Detroit and they just smacked the Lions in the mouth. They did. It was kind of evident after the first quarter. I mean, the Lions kept it close in the first quarter, but second quarter, my God, they couldn't stop a nosebleed by any means, shape, or form. If I'm not focused, like obviously, for obvious reasons. I didn't think this was going to happen. But, this is... I don't want to say this is mainly just because of... I mean, you really can. I mean, the injuries on the defensive side of the ball, they did catch up to the team tonight. As it was evident that, again, they only really stopped Washington twice tonight. Once was that fourth down stop in the first quarter. The other was when we made them punt on their first possession in the second half. There was no pass rush. The game plan wasn't working. We kept trying to blitz for God knows why, and didn't work. Jaden Daniels finished 22 for 31, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns. He rushed for 51 yards. The Lions, for whatever reason, couldn't stop Brian Robinson from running the ball. For one game, De'Ami Brown looked like the better. Actually, no, I can't say that. Sane actually had a pretty good game. But De'Ami Brown showed up tonight. We couldn't stop him. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry had that one touchdown, that one long one. I'm just trying to look at my notes here. This was a bad beat. There's no other way to put it. It's just completely sobering how it happened. I can't even look at the camera right now. I'm truly that about it. Just sucks. It just sucks. And I knew, after Wednesday show, I said I'm a little bit nervous. I didn't think my nerves was about a 45-31 loss. I thought Washington would keep it close, but we'd come back, or not even come back. I thought that we would just kind of run away with it, like how we've done before, and it sucks. Jared Goff played like absolute dog shit tonight. JMO, I truly don't know what the thought process was with that trick play. The 12 men on the field. Josh Pascal being a dumbass and just running over Jaden Daniels for what? There's a lot of things. A lot of things you could look back on and say this is why they lost. The Goff pick six is another one that was truly terrible. The Goff interception in the end zone. Just terrible all around. You go 15-2 a whole season. You fight to the very end to get the number 1 seed, thinking that's going to benefit you, and clearly it didn't. And a lot of the talk tonight between Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady on the call was that obviously the Lions have never been in this position before, being the number 1 seed. And it was very evident tonight. It was very evident. But again, hats off to Washington, hats off to the Commanders, the Commander fan base. You guys have went through hell for so long with Dan Snyder as your owner. The Commanders remind me of what we went through, when we got Campbell and we got Holmes and Sheila became owner, just how much the right things, ownership, quarterback, hell, even coaching. Dan Quinn coached his ass off tonight. Cliff Kingsbury called a great offensive game. Hats off to the entire Commanders organization. I'm not going to sit here and take anything away from them. I know I can talk all the shit I want about my own team, but it takes two to tango. My team could have played horribly, and Washington couldn't have taken advantage of it, but they did. And I'll tell you what, this is a team that even with whoever wins tomorrow between Philly and the Rams, take it from me, do not sleep on this Commanders team. Jaden Daniels is not playing like he's a rookie. He's playing like a seasoned vet. And I also tweeted this earlier tonight. This was after the insane throw to Brown that took him, I think, inside the 4-yard line. This dude's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't care that this is his rookie year. There are certain things you see, like even with CJ Stroud last year. Stroud had a phenomenal rookie year. I wasn't here thinking that Stroud is going to be Hall of Famer, but you could tell with Jaden that he has something special. He is a special player. And if I'm Chicago, I mean, you give Caleb an O-line, maybe we'll see. But man, Jaden at number 2 for them, just unreal. So again, hats off to the Commanders, to their fan base. You guys are so deserving. Couldn't think of a better team to lose to. I'll put it that way. Again, reminds me very much of what the Lions and us fans have went through the last few years. Except you guys did it quicker. You guys did it in your first year with Quinn and Daniels. So hats off to you guys. Again, score was 45-31. What I'm about to say next, I don't know if I'll change my mind on it. I think it was very clear to me. It was very evident to me. I could have other fans tell me I'm wrong, but it was very clear to me that both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn have already moved on because whatever they had going on tonight was not it. The offensive play calling was terrible. Glenn just wouldn't switch up from what he wanted to do, didn't really adjust. And that resulted in Washington put up 45. You know, anybody could say, oh, but you lost Amik Robertson on the second defensive play of the game. Branch and Iffy went out for a bit. You guys didn't even have Pat O'Connor. It doesn't fucking matter. It was pretty clear to me that these guys, I love them. I love what they've done for the organization in the last 3 to 4 years. But to me, it seemed like they were just ready to move on and become head coaches for wherever they're going to. So congrats to the Saints. Congrats to the Raiders or the Bears. Y'all got your coaches. You guys don't even have to wait any longer for that. I fully expect to see Aaron Glenn hired in probably the next day or two, to be honest. Ben Johnson might take a little bit more time. But what we saw from them was just atrocious. No adjusting. Trying to be cute when you didn't need to be cute. Like that JMO trick play. Like that was on JMO. But why are we trying to do this? You guys are down. I think at that point you were down 10 points. There was still plenty of clock left. Like, go and do your thing. And yes, I get that with us. Doing our thing is being tricky with it sometimes. And I get it. I've said this before. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that's fine. And it's hard not to criticize because again, live by the sword, die by the sword. If that trick play would have worked, would have resulted in something, I mean, we would have been here, hey, we're still in it. We have a shot still, and something about it rubs me the wrong way. The absolute coaching malpractice. With the 12 men on the field, like you have the entire sideline losing their fucking mind, and it didn't occur to anybody to call a timeout. I get that, yes, you want to keep your timeouts. They're sacred. But you had them at 4th and 2. You could have stopped them. if somebody just had it in their fucking skull to call a timeout, and they didn't. And it was just maddening every time they would pan to the sideline and you see all the coaching staff, the other players on the sideline losing their mind. You see the players on the field pointing, like trying to tell someone to go off, but whoever they were trying to tell to go off just didn't get the message. But yet nobody called a timeout. Nobody on the sideline. Coach Campbell did not call a timeout. And at that point, I think it was still in the third quarter when that happened. I mean, we had an entire quarter left to go. If we would have stopped them, I feel like the fourth quarter really would have gone differently. I really feel like it would have. The 12 men on the field was beginning of the fourth. It was 4th and 2 at the Detroit 5. It could have gone differently. And, you know, their style of football just caught up to them tonight. It caught up to them. And now Johnson and Glenn are gone. I felt like they were already gone. And the coaching tonight to me just kind of showed it. They were already gone. They were done. Going on to whatever greener pastures are ahead of them. It's just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. Just trying to catch up on a couple things. Yeah. Again, Jaden Daniels is the truth. That's all I can really say. We're going to take a quick break right here. Going to just go over a couple more things before we wrap it up for the night. But once again, you're watching Gritsville, USA right here on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be back after this.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
All right, guys, welcome back to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Again, going over the end of the 2024 Lions season, 15-2 with a devastating bounce out in the divisional. And yeah, that's kind of the next thing I want to talk about. I had a segment about this a couple weeks back. If anything sort of Super Bowl appearance was a failure in my eyes as in regards to this Lions season, my opinion on that has not changed. This season was an utter failure. You can get at me about, the 15 players on IR defensively. We lost Aiden. We lost McNeil. We lost this. We lost that. Spare me it. Spare me. We went 15-2. I don't care that we wiped the floor with teams like Dallas or Jacksonville or Tennessee. It doesn't matter. We went 15-2. Clearly, Super Bowl was still on your mind. So what's the excuse for tonight? You just weren't prepared. You guys took the bye a little bit too seriously. Glenn and Johnson got cute, wanted to already move on to the next chapter of their lives. Jared Goff had no interest in wanting to be a good quarterback this game. Awareness wasn't there. It was a failure. It was the exact opposite of what this whole season was. Tonight was not an example of grit from this team. It's that plain and simple. Tonight was cowardice. The exact opposite. I don't see a team that went 15-2 tonight. I don't see a team that went into week 18 and had a resounding win against the Vikings. I don't see a team that came back against Houston in the way that they did. Where was that team? And I get it. You had a few less players than what we had in the Houston game. Doesn't matter. It wasn't there. This is a team that practices and preaches on showing up when needed. Next man up. And where was that? Wasn't here tonight. Couldn't tackle. Couldn't finish. Lazy plays. No awareness. It wasn't there. The season was another failure. I don't care that we got the number 1 seed for the first time in history. I don't care that we finished 15-2. This season did not result in a Super Bowl season, and this was supposed to be the year. Because guess what? You think this shit's going to get any easier next year? Washington just looks like they're a force to be reckoned with. We'll see what happens in the North. You know, if Chicago gives Caleb an O-line, and depending on who they get at head coach, they're going to be an issue. I'm telling you, the Bears, as much as I poke fun at the Bears and make fun of the Bears, they're an offensive line away from being a competent team. They really were. They have the weapons. They have the defense. They have the quarterback. The Vikings, they were way better than I gave them credit for. They finished 14-3. Doesn't matter. They got bounced by LA. I can't even talk shit about that anymore. Green Bay. Green Bay's Green Bay. They're not going to go away. They're not going anywhere. Philly's there. The Rams are still going to be there. The Seahawks are going to be there. The Niners are going to come back from their injuries. Arizona looks competent. Tampa. Atlanta has promise. This was a failure. This was the year to do it. I don't want to go into let's look at this comment from my brother. In the next year or two, Hook needs to go and a quarterback needs to be drafted. Pocket passing just can't do it anymore. I don't want to start getting into that too much. We signed Goff. Goff's going to be the guy. I'm not going to waste a draft pick on a quarterback anytime soon. Do I think that the running game needs to be more of a focus? And that kind of sucks to say, knowing that was our bread and butter. And tonight we just seem to stray away from it. I do agree that Hendon Hooker needs to go. Not because he's terrible, but we don't need him. I've heard that if Ben Johnson goes, he might want Hendon Hooker to go with him. That's cool. Fine, take him. Perfectly fine to me. Yeah, too many injuries. Yep, the fumble, pick six, interception. That was the worst way that half could have ended. And the game was on Goff. Yeah, I mean, if there were three people I can really villainize tonight, it would be Goff, Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn. And even then, I don't want to villainize Aaron Glenn too much. My only fault with him is that he didn't really adjust. But what the hell are you supposed to do when the next best corner on your team snaps his arm in half, and you had to put Kindle face mask Vildor out there. What are you going to do in the fourth quarter when Melifonwu and Brian Branch go out? Like, Aaron Glenn didn't have a lot to work with. I can't fully fault him. Who I can fault are Goff and Ben Johnson. I can easily fault them. Again, Ben Johnson he looked like he was ready to talk to Tom Brady after the game about the Raiders job. That's all I'm going to say. He did not care. Jared Goff played like ass. Some of those throws I don't. The pick six throw might have been the worst golf ball I've ever seen in my life. The 4 years we've been there with Jared Goff, that might have been the worst ball I've ever seen him throw. Might have been the worst one. The end zone interception, top 5. That Goff, I don't really care to listen to what they got to say tonight. I know they're going to do their press conferences. I don't give a shit what they got to say tonight. This is inexcusable. And they're going to say, oh, it was on us. We didn't execute. No shit. Thanks for telling me what I already know. Thanks for, it's obvious. Yeah, this season was a failure. That's all I know. Season was a failure. I don't really want to go into too much about what's next, but it really is at this point. It's on to next year. I know a lot of fans are going to be pissed about this for days. I know I'm going to, but what can I do? Season's done. It's over. And it's heartbreaking. We get Aiden back next year. Yay. Obviously, the next big thing for Detroit is what comes next as far as coaching goes. Because Aaron Glenn's gone. Ben Johnson, I'm now convinced, is gone. I was thinking that, he might stay. No, after tonight, I think he's gone. So obviously that's going to be the next domino to fall is who are their replacements. Then we got the draft, free agency. And that's really it. Just, coaching changes, free agency, NFL draft. If there's one thing I can say right now about what I really want for next year is beef up the beef up the D-line more. Give Hutch an actual sidekick to work with, so it's not just him. Like, I get that we get Za'Darius for one more year, but like he's going to be, I think, 34. And you could tell that he was kind of struggling with us a bit, even though he was our big mid-season trade acquisition. You got to do something to help Hutch out. You got to address that. And then maybe look into a couple new athletic trainers too, because obviously the way the defense kept dropping like flies, nobody could stay healthy. Maybe you got to look into who's carrying for them behind the scenes. Is it better to replace coordinators or keep? I mean, ideally, as pissed as I am with them tonight, ideally in an ideal world, I would keep them. Again, Aaron Glenn, I think, is the one that I really wish I would keep more because I can't even be fully mad. Again, I can't be mad at him. I don't know what you're supposed to do when you have Norris Morris coming out as safety and some other dude I've never heard of in my entire fucking life. What are you supposed to do? I'm not mad at Glenn. Do I think that maybe he could have been a little unfocused? Maybe, but that's just me speculating. His whole heart could have been in this game, and it just didn't work out. He's the one I really wish I could keep. Ben Johnson at this point, I mean, by no means am I calling him trash now. I don't want to get that misconstrued. I'm not calling him trash. Phenomenal coach. Whoever gets him is going to get one hell of a coach, but maybe it's time for this offense to see something different. I mean, I fully expect Dan Campbell to hire someone that's going to keep the identity of what we had here. But in an ideal world, I would want to keep both. If I only had my choosing of one, I think I would keep Aaron Glenn. I really would. If I only had to pick one, I would keep Glenn. But again, I fully expect him to be taking that Saints job in the next couple days. If he goes to the Jets, then my guy, you're maybe not as smart as I thought you were. But yeah, I mean, it's on to next year. I can't even sit here and tell you, well, it was a good season. Good season would have resulted in a Super Bowl appearance, and it didn't. And it sucks. And that's, the way the cookie crumbles. Next year, schedule's a little tougher. And next year, we'll really see what the outlook of this team is for the foreseeable future. Because the most change is about to happen. We've had Aaron Glenn since the beginning of the Campbell era. We've had Ben Johnson since year 2 of it. And this is going to be the biggest change that this whole regime has ever had to go through. And we'll see how they address it. We'll see if maybe this resulted because we had a defense that was decimated. Very well could have been. Maybe if we would have even had Hutch in this game, it would have been different. If we had McNeil, it could have been different. If we had Carlton Davis, or if Robertson didn't snap his arm, could have been different. Because yes, I mean, I can't ignore that. I mean, I don't want it to make us be like, well, that's the only reason why we lost the game. But it would be stupid to not realize that the injuries did catch up to you. It did. And it caught up to you at the worst time when you thought that they really needed the week off, and it turns out that the week off probably also helped their demise. But it's on to next year. I mean, obviously, in future shows, I will still be talking about them little by little, especially with what comes of the coaching changes. And then especially, once the season ends, as we get closer to free agency even the combine maybe. But free agency and obviously the draft will be addressing them a little bit more. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, we're right in Red Wings and Pistons season now. They both Red Wings lost terribly tonight to pour salt on the wound. Pistons lost to, make me want to jump out in front of a car. So all the Detroit teams lost today. Red Wings lost terrible. But hey, we gotta. Those teams are fun. They're fun again. So maybe this isn't end all for Detroit sports. We'll see what the Tigers do still. I mean, sucks that the Lions season ended like that. Regular season like that probably won't ever happen again. What an absolute waste. I don't want to. I mean, I'll put it this way: this team could go 11-6 next year, and if they actually make it to the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna knock it. I'm not gonna care about the regular season at that point. The ultimate goal is to make it to the Super Bowl. I don't care if they barely make it at 10-7. If you make it to the Super Bowl, that's all that matters. The regular season thing, yeah, it was cool. Sucks to have it end. Like, this really was stepping up to be like the most magical season in Lions history, and it just didn't happen that way. But I'll tell you what, I'll take 10-7 and going to the Super Bowl any day of the week. You could ask anybody. Does not matter to me. But yes, as far as this season goes, it was an absolute waste. It was an absolute waste. That's quite honestly all I have for you guys tonight. It was just a tough one. Tough, and it sucks. It blows. No other way to say it. Just absolutely sucks. Again, we're definitely not done talking about this team, though. We will have to see what comes of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Again, Glenn is as good as gone. Ben Johnson, I'd say he's 95% gone. If anything, he's probably talking to Tom Brady right now, somewhere in Ford Field hallways. Brady probably has his contract rolled up in his side pocket saying, come on, let's bring you aboard. I'll fly you out to Vegas tonight. Good for him. Again, huge congrats to the Washington Commanders. I will definitely be rooting for you guys. I'm going to be rooting for the Bills. A Commanders-Bills Super Bowl would go crazy. If I see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I will not be watching it. I can't stand the Chiefs anymore. I will not be watching. I will be boycotting the Super Bowl if the Chiefs are in it. I will tell you that right now. If that makes me a fake sports fan, then I'm not watching the Super Bowl if the Chiefs are in it. I would rather watch paint dry on a wall. But again, thank you guys for the Lions fans that tuned in week in and week out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys still continue to tune in during Pistons talk, Red Wings talk, college basketball talk, and eventually Tiger talk. I will still be talking about the Lions, just obviously not as much as what I've been doing for the last few weeks. I'll be getting more into the other sports teams around the state. Really want to give them more attention now that the Lions season is over. So again, for those that have been tuning in for that, I appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys keep tuning in for it. I promise we'll be more upbeat on Wednesday. Tonight was just a kick in the balls, to say the least. But once again, you guys have been watching Gritsville USA. Give us a follow on X, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, starting again on Monday, maybe YouTube at IE Sports Radio. Check out the website again, iesportsradio.com. Find my show there, all the other great shows. Congrats to Mike. Your Commanders won. Hats off to you. Again, follow our podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You know the deal. We're there. But again, thank you guys so much for all the attention you've given me. Hope you guys keep tuning in moving forward. Lions fans, it's okay. It's not, but I'm going to lie to myself. But you guys, have a good night. You've been watching Gritsville USA right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Take care.